Awesome. So yesterday we saw about taking responsibility and how we shape our mental environment. And obviously, the previous day we saw about different kind of problems we face and what how the trading environment is and why we come inside and what are all our expectations, what are all the dangers, and what are all the safeguards which we need to do. And if we have made and why we don't follow these rules, because we came here to avoid the rules. So that is one of the fundamental reason why we fail to create rules ourselves. Next one is we don't want to take responsibility, so we try to, we listen to whatever other people are telling. And the third one is we are addicted to random rewards. And the fourth one is we actually is that we are successful in our life because of our ability to control and manipulate others, but market does not care about it, and so we fail. So we have to control ourselves. That is the goal. And we also saw about how we take responsibility. And in taking responsibility, we saw, like, how we kind of shape our mental environment and how to be consistent, right? So we have to frame our own set of mental environment. What works for one might not work for other. And the more important is how we what is the attitude which we have when we trade. Okay. So, and the author also says about the zone where you kind of go into a zone and you're successful. And but athletes reach that zone only when they have actually trained a lot. So, but market will give you certain rewards initially itself, and you might think that you have gone into a zone. And but what matters is only when you fail, and how you react, how you basically take those losing trades that we saw. An important thing was how we react once we have got incurred a loss. So we'll start reading about that today. Eventually, our novice trader will experience a loss and being wrong, regardless of how positive he is feeling. Losing and being wrong are inevitable realities of trading. The most positive attitude imaginable, coupled with the best analytical skills, cannot prevent a trader from eventually experiencing a losing trade. The markets are just too erratic, and there are too many variables to consider for any trader to be right every time. So what happens when the novice trader finally does lose? What effect will it have on his carefree state of mind? The answers will depend on his expectations going into the trade and how he interprets the experience. And how he interprets the experience is a function of his beliefs and attitudes. So, what if he is operating out of a belief that there is no possible way to avoid a loss because losing is a natural consequence of trading? No different from, let us say, a restaurant owner incurring the expense of having to buy food. Furthermore, suppose that he has completely accepted the risk, meaning that he has considered and accounted for all of what would otherwise be the unacceptable possibilities in the market's behavior, both financially and emotionally. With these beliefs and expectations, it is unlikely that he would experience a deterioration of his attitude and would simply go on to the next trade. By the way, this is an example of an ideal set of trading beliefs and attitudes. So, what is the first thing the author is telling? That losing and being wrong are unavoidable in trading. And even though you may have the best positive attitude and with the best analytical skills, you might still fail. You might lose the trade because the markets are very erratic and there are too many variables to consider. So what will happen once he lost, once a new trader is losing his trade, and what effect will he have in his state of mind, right? So that depends on what are all the expectations I am going inside the trade, and how we interpret that experience, and how he interprets the experience is a function of his beliefs and attitudes. So and what if he's operating out of belief that there is no possible way to avoid a loss because losing is natural trade-off consequence. And so author is telling that just like how we have a business or a restaurant where you have some expenses, right? So you will have some losses. Just like that, you have to go into that particular belief. And with these kind of beliefs and expectations, there will not be a deterioration in attitude. That is what author is telling. And the trader will simply go on to the next trade. So this is an example of ideal set of creating beliefs and attitudes. Okay. So just like, when you go into a business, you have some expenses and you will incur some losses. Those are all business losses. You will brush it up and move on, right? So that is how you have to consider trading also. Now, suppose that he has not completely accepted the risk. What if his expectations did not take into account any market behavior other than what he wanted? From this mental perspective, if the market does not do what he wants, he is going to feel pain, emotional pain. Expectations are our mental representations of how some future moment in the environment is going to look, sound, feel, smell, or taste. Depending upon how much energy is behind the expectation, it can hurt a lot when it is not fulfilled. So if a trader is not going into this particular mindset where it is every trade will have a loss and those losses are part of the trade, if he goes into that particular mindset, it is good, right? He will simply move on with the next trade. Yes, this pattern as if nothing has happened. But if he is not going with that particular expectation mindset, there will be emotional pain. And because that is not the expectation which we have. Of the two different perspectives I just described, which one is likely to be held by our novice trader? The latter, of course. Only the very best traders have acquired the perspective described in the first scenario. And as I indicated in chapter 1, unless these very best traders grew up in a successful trading families or had super traders for mentors, where appropriate attitudes about risk and loss were instilled in them from the very beginning of their careers, virtually every one of them had the common experience of losing one or more fortunes before they realized how they needed to think in order to be consistently successful. It is a fundamental shift in attitude that accounts for their success, not some brilliant realization about the market as most people erroneously assume. This erroneous assumption is prevalent among traders simply because very few of them really understand at the deepest levels just how critical a component attitude is in determining one's success. So the author is telling that you should have an experienced trader will come with the first mindset, a novice trader will come with the second mindset. And this first mindset you will get either you are born in a family of trading, or you are mentored by some super traders where every experience will be every one of them will had the common experience of losing one or more fortunes before they realized. So unless we have this kind of training, we will realize very late. That is what author is telling. So, and author is also telling that it is not like some fantastic market analysis which will help you. It is only the attitude. So we can safely assume that after a loss, our novice trader will be in a state of emotional pain. As a result, his trading will take on a whole new quality. He will definitely lose that carefree state of mind, but more important, he will feel that the market did this to him. The market caused him to feel the pain he's experiencing. The market took away his winning feeling by subjecting him to a loss. Notice how our trader is blaming the market for losing or what he did not get. Notice too how natural it is to feel the way he does. Think about how many times in our lives, especially as children, we were doing something we really enjoyed, like playing with a toy or with our friends, and someone with more power and authority forced us to stop what we are doing and do something we did not want to do. All of us have lost things, had things taken away from us, been denied things we wanted or believed we deserved, but been prevented from continuing an activity we were in the middle of, or been blocked from pursuing an idea we were passionate about. So a novice trader, what he will do is once he got a loss, once he is experiencing a loss, his reaction would be, he will blame the market. Market is responsible, and he will tell that, the market took away his winning feeling. The market is causing him to experience the pain and all these things. And the market, and he keeps blaming the market, right? And even in our life, we, especially as children, we would have been doing something and maybe playing with a toy or something, and suddenly someone who is powerful, like our teacher or elder person, somebody, he will come and tell that, he will remove that from power, using his power and authority, and prevent us from doing it. And as a result, what is happening, we are experiencing a pain, right? Emotional pain. So that is what the author is also telling, right? So just like how the powerful person, somebody who is powerful than us, he is causing us pain by removing us from doing the things which we are liking to do. Market also, we perceive the same way as with the market. Okay. So the point is that many of these situations, we did not need to take personal responsibility for what happened to us or for the pain we experienced, because we were powerless to do anything about it. We did not choose to be forced out of a state of joy and happiness into a state of emotional pain. The decision was out of our hands, against our will, and usually quite abrupt. Even though we may have been told we were responsible for what was happening to us, we may not have believed it or understood what it meant. Okay, so in many of these situations, like from our childhood, the powerful people would have caused the pain. Okay, we did not choose to come out of that joyful state and happy state, and it was not in our hands, it was not against our will, it was quite abrupt. And many would have said that you are responsible for that particular uh, thing happening, but we couldn't understand what it meant, right? That is what the author is telling. So what is tangible and what we can most easily relate to is that we were having fun and someone or something took us out of that fun and into pain. It was not our choice. The cause of our pain came to us from the outside. Therefore, whatever force acted upon us in that moment was to blame. We learned not only that feeling good can instantly be replaced with a feeling bad through no fault of our own, we also learned about betrayal. We felt betrayed because many of these situations were completely unexpected or unanticipated, meaning we were unprepared for how some people in our lives had the potential to behave. If their behavior caused us to flip into a state of emotional pain, then we quite naturally would have felt betrayed. So the author is telling, like, we thought we were having fun, and suddenly somebody behaved, some powerful person took us from not having that fun, and we felt sad. Not only sad because it was not our fault, we also felt betrayed, right? Like how some people will have the potential to behave, and how they betray us. We don't expect them to behave that way, but they do behave, right? And because of their behavior, we felt emotional pain, right? So obviously we felt betrayed. As a side note, I feel it is important to say that many of our past emotionally painful experiences were the result of well-meaning parents, teachers, and friends, many of whom were doing only what they believed at the time was best for us. Best example is a child playing with a toy that is inherently dangerous. Take the toy away, the child will cry to express the emotional pain he's experiencing. And if we are dealing with a very young or immature child, in all likelihood, he will not listen to anything reasonable that we say about why he cannot play with that toy. So the author is also telling that, all the people who are so powerful, who took us from the joy and all these things, they were actually, their intentions were good, right? They were not like, doing it for our bad, they were doing it for our good. And some toys might be dangerous to play, and obviously, you can take the toy away from the child, but the child will cry, right? So that is an immature child. But at the same time, many people are born to immature and unreasonable parents or encounter emotionally disturbed teachers, coaches, and employees who subconsciously or intentionally inflict their personal problems on anyone they perceive as having less power. What is even worse is many of the people who have a tendency toward victimizing others are also clever enough to do it in a way that makes their victims believe they caused their own pain. In any case, whether our painful experiences are the result of an act of love or intentionally inflicted as something each of us will have to determine for ourselves. So the author is also telling that we are born to uh, some people are born to immature and unreasonable parents, or some people have emotionally disturbed teachers, emotionally disturbed coaches, employees, etc. And what is worse is that even though they abuse us, they will tell that we are responsible. It's like gaslighting, what we call as gaslighting. So these kind of things. So, but at the end, doesn't matter. Whatever, whether that is really true or whether they're intentional or they are not intentional. We have to decide, right? So, but the bottom line is that as adults, when we get into a trading mode, we don't realize how natural it is to associate the instantaneous shift from joy to pain that we experienced so often as children with the same instantaneous shift from joy to pain that occurs when we trade. The implications are that if we have not learned to accept the inherent risks of trading and don't know how to guard against making these natural connections between our past and the present, we will end up blaming the market for our results instead of taking responsibility for them. Author is now telling that, uh, here so far we have had how we have been joyous and suddenly we went into a painful mode because somebody pulled us out of that particular action, and the market will keep on giving you these kind of things, and if you don't know how to guard against these things, you will end up blaming the market, right? So that is what the author is telling. Even though most people who trade consider themselves responsible adults, only the very best traders have reached a point where they can and do accept complete responsibility for the outcome of any particular trade. Everyone else, to one degree or another, assumes they are taking responsibility, but the reality is that they want the market to do it for them. The typical trader wants the market to fulfill his expectations, his hopes, and dreams. So, this kind of tells that uh, only very few people will accept complete responsibility, and most of them will expect the market to take responsibility for them, and they expect the market to fulfill his expectations. And fine. So this paragraph kind of makes me a little bit understand the importance of kill switch. I always kind of wonder whether should I kill the switch or should I have the self control to not trade. And sometimes I do trade and I also burn my fingers. But I think this line is telling that uh, you have to create those systems, and that is what we don't realize how natural it is to associate, and we have to guard in making these natural connections, right? So so the guarding has to be done. It's not like if you cannot guard ourselves, we have to resort to some things which will prevent us from doing certain mistakes. So it could be some stop loss, it could be some forcible ending the trading and all these things, I think. Fine. So society may work this way, but the markets certainly do not. In society, we can expect other people to behave in reasonable and responsible ways. When they don't, and if we suffer as a result, society makes remedies available to rectify the imbalance and makes us whole again. The market, on the other hand, has no responsibility to give us anything or do anything that would benefit us. This may not be the way markets are advertised, and certainly not the impression they want to project. But the reality is, every trader who participates in the markets does so for his own benefit. The only way one trader can benefit is if some other trader loses. Whether the loss is in actual dollars, as in a futures trade, or lost opportunity, as in a stock trade. When you put on a trade, it is an anticipation of making money. Every other trader in the world who puts on a trade does so for the same reason. When you look at your relationship with the market from this perspective, you could say that your purpose is to extract money from the markets, but by the same token, the market's sole purpose is to extract money or opportunity from you. So the society author is telling that the society does not work the way the markets behave, but in a society there is some checks and balances are there. The markets, there are no checks and balances, although it is advertised as if it is checks and markets. But every trade, one's loss is another's profit. It could be in dollars or it could be in opportunity. So if you don't grab that opportunity, somebody else will grab that opportunity. And every time we go for a trade, we are anticipating to make money, right? So our purpose here is to extract money from the market, but the market's purpose is to extract money from you. That is what our author is trying to tell. If the market is a group of people interacting to extract money from one another, then what is the market's responsibility to the individual trader? It has no responsibility other than to follow the rules it has established to facilitate this activity. The point is, if you have ever found yourself blaming the market or feeling betrayed, then you have not given enough consideration to the implications of what it means to play a zero-sum game. Any degree of blaming means you have not accepted the reality that the market owes you nothing, regardless of what you want or think, or how much effort you put into trading. In the market, typical social values of exchange do not come into play. If you don't understand this and find a way to reconcile the differences between the social norms you grew up with and the way the market works, you will continue to project your hopes, dreams, and desires onto the market, believing it is going to do something for you. When it does not, you will feel angry, frustrated, emotionally distraught, and betrayed. So, the market, the author is telling that the market has no responsibility to safeguard it. Okay. And its job is to only follow the rules. What are the rules? When you buy, it will connect you with someone who is selling. And when you sell, it will connect you with someone who is buying from you. Market does not care whether you're losing or not, whether you're winning or not. It does not care. So if you keep blaming the market, then you are not understanding it's a zero-sum game. Zero-sum game is what? One's success is another one's failure. There are no winners. If you win, somebody else is losing. That is a zero-sum game. So when you add up, it's zero. Okay. So when you add your profit and someone else's loss, it is zero. So any degree of blaming means that, and if you keep blaming, we have not accepted the reality that the market does not owe you anything. Your whole concept of how society, someone you can go and tell he's responsible and all these things, the market does not care. And when it doesn't, we'll feel angry and frustrated and emotionally distraught and betrayed. Taking responsibility means acknowledging and accepting at the deepest part of your identity that you, not the market, are completely responsible for your success or failure as a trader. Granted, the market's purpose is to separate you from the money, but in the process of doing so, it also provides you with an endless stream of opportunities for you to take money from it. When prices move, that movement represents the collective actions of everyone participating at that moment. Market also generates information about itself and makes it extremely easy to enter and exit trades, depending, of course, on the number of people participating. From the individual's perspective, price movement, information, and ability to enter and exit trades represent opportunities to see something and to act on what you perceive. During each moment, the markets are open. You have an opportunity to enter a position, lighten up a position, add to a position, or exit a position. These are all opportunities to enrich yourself by taking profits or at least cutting your losses. So the market, the author is telling that, its job is not to, once you acknowledge and accept that each and every trade you as a person you are only responsible, right? And the market's job is to give you stream of opportunities, right? But that is actually, when the price is moving, everybody is actually participating in that moment, right? And we are easily possible to exit and enter the trades, provided there is obviously a lot of people who are participating. And from as an individual, if we see the price is moving, information and all these things, these are all opportunities to see something and act, but only on what we perceive, right? We are perceiving that, this will move, okay, this is happening, trending wise there, and pivot is there, it is rejecting and all these things, but we are having a perception that it will go into that particular direction. And these are all opportunities which the market is providing, either to take the profit, or if we are at loss, you cut down our losses. So let me pose a question. Do you feel responsible for fulfilling some other trader's expectations, hopes, dreams, and desires? Of course you don't. It sounds absurd to even ask. However, if you ever find yourself blaming the market and feeling betrayed, that is essentially what you are doing. You are expecting the collective actions of everyone participating in the market to make the market act in a way that gives you what you want. You have to learn for yourself how to get what you want out of the markets. And okay, so basically, when someone is asking us to, tell that we are responsible for their hopes and their dreams, what will we tell? We will not accept it, right? We will tell it's absurd. But when we blame the market, what we are actually doing is we are doing the same thing, because we are blaming the market. We are blaming everybody else for participating. Okay. So the author is telling that you should stop blaming and take responsibility. Taking responsibility means believing that all of your outcomes are self-generated, that your results are based on your interpretations of market information, the decisions you make, and the actions you take as a result. Taking anything less than complete responsibility sets up two major psychological obstacles that will block your success. First, you will establish an adversarial relationship with the market that takes you out of the constant flow of opportunities. Second, you will mislead yourself into believing that your trading problems and lack of success can be rectified through the market analysis. So the author is telling that if you don't take responsibility, what will happen? It will be a conflicting relationship with the market. And because when the market is providing opportunities, we will not take, or we will think that, if we keep reading all the analysis which we have, that will help us in succeeding in the market, but it won't. Let us consider the first obstacle. When you project any degree of responsibility into the market for giving you money or cutting your losses, the market can all too easily take on the quality of an adversary or enemy. Losing, when you expected the market to do something different from what it did, will tap you into the same childlike feelings of pain, anger, resentment, and powerlessness that all of us felt when someone took something away from us or didn't give us what we wanted or would not let us do what we wanted, right? So if you don't take responsibility, others telling the same thing again. Basically, we will try to project the responsibility onto the market, and we will simply feel pain because it's like, how we were doing something happily and someone took us, we tell that they are responsible for our pain, right? They are responsible for whatever we have. No one likes to feel denied, especially if we believe that getting what we want will make us happy. In each of these situations, something or someone outside of us prevented us from expressing ourselves in some particular way. In other words, some outside force was acting against the inner force of our desires and expectations. As a result, it feels natural to assign the market the power of an outside force that either gives or takes away. But consider the fact that the market presents its information from a neutral perspective. That means the market does not know what you want or expect, nor does it care, unless, of course, you trade the kind of position that can have a major impact on prices. Otherwise, each moment, each bid, and each offer gives you the opportunity to do something. You can put on a trade, take profits, or take off a loser. This is also true for those of you who are floor traders and are personally known to other floor traders who may also know your position and to your detriment purposefully take advantage of that knowledge. It just means that you have to be faster and more focused, take whatever limitations you have in these areas into consideration and trade accordingly. Okay. So basically it is telling that, you can put the responsibility on the market, but if you consider that it is not there to punish you, it is just giving it from a neutral perspective, and it does not care about what you want, and if you don't think if you think otherwise, if you think like that, then every trade opportunity is actually an opportunity for do something, and it could be a profit or loss. And so if you start thinking that way, you know that you have to be fast, you have to be more focused, right? Else we'll keep blaming the market and we'll tell the market will come up and come down, but we have to act fast. If we are not taking the responsibility on to us, we will expect the market to come to us, especially after a trade. So we have to be, when the market is giving an opportunity, we have to go and grab it. That is what the author is telling. Market does not give you the opportunity. Market will not ask you to enter or exit, right? So from the market's perspective, each moment is neutral to you, the observer. Every moment and price change can have meaning. But where do these meanings exist? These are based on what you have learned, and they exist inside your mind, not in the market. The market does not attach meanings or interpret the information it generates about itself. Although there are always individuals who will offer interpretation if you are willing to listen. Furthermore, the market does not know how you define an opportunity or loss. The market does not know whether you perceive it as an endless stream of opportunities to enter and exit for both profits and losses at every moment, and whether you perceive it as a greedy monster ready and willing in any moment to devour your money. Other is again and again telling that, market does not care. You can do whatever. If you can keep putting the responsibility on you. If you don't want, you don't have to put the responsibility, but it does not care. If you think that it is giving you opportunity, it doesn't care. If you think that it is not giving opportunity, it doesn't care. It is like, if you think that it is very greedy, it's trying to take money from you, then also it does not care. Okay. So if you perceive the endless stream of opportunities to enter and exit without self-criticism and regret, then you will be in the best frame of mind to act in your best interest and learn from your experiences. On the other hand, if what you perceive in market information is painful in some way, then you will naturally try to avoid that pain by either consciously or subconsciously blocking that information from your awareness. In the process of blocking that information, you will systematically cut yourself off from any number of opportunities to enrich yourself. In other words, you cut yourself from the opportunity of flow. Okay. So every opportunity, every trade which we make, if we do it, if we enter and exit without any self-criticism, right? Sometimes you might make loss. At that time, we should not be self-critical, right? Oh my God, I made a huge loss today. Oh my God, I lost. Oh my God. So these kind of mental makeup, if we have, then we will not do the next trade in the best frame of mind. That is what author is telling. But if we perceive the market information as painful, what will happen is we will block certain things. We will not even from the psychological things. We will miss certain things. And because of that particular information missing, we will also prevent from taking some opportunities which we can have otherwise have. So this is an opportunity, cutting ourselves from the opportunity flow. Furthermore, it will feel like the market is against you, but only if you expect it to do something for you, or if you believe that it owes you something. If someone or something is against you and causes you pain, how are you likely to respond? You will feel compelled to fight. But what exactly are you fighting? The market is certainly not fighting you. Yes, the market wants your money, but it also provides you with the opportunity to take as much as you can. Although it may feel as if you are fighting the market or it is fighting you, the reality is you are simply fighting the negative consequences of not fully accepting that the market owes you nothing and that you need to take advantage of the opportunities it presents by yourself 100% and not 1 degree less. Okay. So it's a fantastic paragraph. So if you think that the market is against you, then we will start fighting, because that is what we do, right? If someone is causing us pain, we immediately fight back. So but that is our perception, but the market is not fighting us, right? Market might want your money also, but it also gives you opportunity to take the money. And if we keep fighting the market, we are naturally only fighting the negative consequences and not accepting that market does not care, market does not owe you anything. And whenever the opportunities are presented, that is our responsibility to take care of that opportunities. The way to take maximum advantage of a situation where you are being offered unlimited opportunities to do something for yourself is to get into the flow. The market does have a flow. It is often erratic, especially in the shorter time frames, but it does display symmetrical patterns that repeat themselves over and over again. Obviously, it is a contradiction to flow with something you are against. If you want to start sensing the flow of the market, your mind has to be relatively free of fear, anger, regret, betrayal, despair, and disappointment. You won't have a reason to experience these negative emotions when you assume absolute responsibility. Earlier, so it is telling that you have to if you don't have to fight with the market, you have to go into the market has a flow, and in the shorter time, but in the longer time, there is a flow in the market. And if we to understand the flow of the market, we should be free from fear, anger, regret, betrayal, despair, and disappointment. And if we don't have a reason these kind of emotions will not be there with us only when we assume absolute responsibility, right? So earlier I said that when you don't take responsibility, one of the major psychological obstacles that can block your success is that you will mislead yourself into believing that your trading problems and lack of consistency can be rectified through market analysis. To illustrate this point, let's go back to our novice trader who started out with a carefree state of mind until he experienced first loss. After winning with such ease and effortlessness, the abrupt shift to emotional pain can be quite shocking. Not shocking enough, however, to quit trading. Besides, in his mind, the situation wasn't his fault anyway. The market did it to him. Instead of quitting, the great feeling that he experienced when he was winning will be fresh in his mind and will inspire him with a sense of determination to continue trading. Only now he is going to be smarter about it. He's going to put some effort into it and learn everything he can about the markets. It's perfectly logical to think that if he can win with not knowing anything, he'll be able to clean up when he does know something. But there is a big problem here that very few traders will have any awareness of until long after the damage is done. Learning about the markets is fine and does not cause a problem in itself. It is the underlying reason for learning about the market that will ultimately prove to his undoing. So, and what exactly the author is telling here is that for a novice trader, initially we will be winning certain trades and then we will experience a loss. Now, all of a sudden, he'll think that, okay, by not learning anything itself, I could make money. Now I learn more about the markets. And because he'll think that, if I learn, I'll be better. That is the problem. But very few traders will have any awareness of until its damage is done. Learning about the markets is fine, but the underlying reason for learning, that is what will cause the problem. The reason here is that, he's telling that, if I learn, I am fantastic. If I learn more, I'll be able to, make money. That is the problem. As I said a moment ago, the sudden shift from joy to pain usually creates quite a psychological shock. Very few people ever learn how to reconcile these kinds of experiences in a healthy way. Techniques are available, but they are not widely known. The typical response in most people, especially the type of person attracted to trading, is revenge. For traders, the only way to extract that revenge is to conquer the market, and the only way to conquer the market is through market knowledge, or so they think. In other words, the underlying reason for why the novice trader is learning about the market is to overcome the market, to prove something to it and himself, and most important, to prevent the market from hurting him again. He is not learning the market simply as a means to give himself a systematic way of winning, but rather as a way to either avoid pain or prove something that has absolutely nothing to do with looking at the market from an objective perspective. He does not realize it, but as soon as he made the assumption that knowing something about the market can prevent him from experiencing pain or help satisfy his desire for revenge or to prove something, he's healed his failure to become a loser. Nicely written. And the author says that it is not that if you learn about the markets, learning about the market is wrong. He's telling that why you are now learning about the markets, because we are immediately learning as a revenge mechanism. Like, because we were making something, we were winning something, then all of a sudden we lost. So immediately to revenge the market, we go and learn more. And there are many techniques, right? But the problem is, the minute we start going into that particular revenge mode, we are actually sealing our fate to become a loser. Okay, because we are now not curious to learn about the market, we are curious to win the market. Okay, and yeah, we are learning the process to avoid the pain and to prove that we are something or something like that. So, but it is that particular time that we become a loser. In effect, what we have done is that an irreconcilable dilemma. He's learning how to recognize and understand the market's collective behavior patterns, and that's good. It even feels good. He's inspired because he assumes he's learning about the market in order to become a winner. As a result, he will typically go on a knowledge quest, learning about trend lines, chart patterns, support and resistance, candlesticks, market profiles, point and line charts, Elliott waves, Fibonacci retracements, oscillators, relative strength, stochastics, and many more technical tools, too numerous to mention. Curiously, even though his knowledge has increased, he now finds that he has developed problems executing his trades. He hesitates. He second guesses himself or doesn't put on a trade at all, in spite of any number of clear signals to do so. It is all frustrating, even maddening, because what has happened does not make sense. He did what he was supposed to do. He learned only to find that the more he learned, the less he took advantage of. He would never believe that he did anything wrong by devoting himself to learning. He simply did it for the wrong reasons. He won't be able to trade effectively if he's trying to prove something or anything for that matter. If you have to win, you have to be right. If you have to be right, if you can't lose or can't be wrong, you will cause yourself to define and perceive categories of market information as painful. In other words, you will view as painful any information if the market generates that is in opposition to what will make you happy. Dilemma is that our minds are wired to avoid both physical and emotional pain. And learning about the markets will not compensate for the negative effects of our pain avoidance mechanisms we have on our trading. Everybody understands the nature of avoiding physical pain. Accidentally set your hand on a hot burner and your hand moves away from the heat automatically. It is an instinctive reaction. However, when it comes to avoiding emotional pain and the negative consequences it creates, especially for traders, very few people understand the dynamics. It's absolutely essential to your development that you understand these negative effects and learn how to take conscious control in a way that helps you fulfill your goals. So the author is telling that, we will, because we want to now prove ourselves, because we want to do revenge, because we want to, conquer the market, we will do all sorts of analysis, we'll do all the tools available, we'll read all the things. And but the problem is the more and more you read, you will now not be able to take a trade because you don't know what to do. Okay, and that is the problem author is telling. And because now we are going to avoid the pain, right? And the minute we want to avoid the pain, we obviously will try to prevent from doing it. So the same thing, like now you have learned a lot of things. Now you want to conquer the market. Now you do want to tell that whatever trade you are going to make, it will be successful. So you want to be successful. You want the market to succeed you. So now as a result, what will happen? There is always a possibility. Now you have learned so many things. Now since you want it to be succeed, you will never take a trade. That is the problem. Okay. So our minds have, because we know that if it will cause pain if it fails, because now we have learned a lot of things. Right? So that is the emotional pain the author is trying to tell. Our minds have a number of ways to shield us from information that we have learned to perceive as painful. For example, at a conscious level, we can rationalize, justify, or make a case for staying in a losing trade. Some of the more typical ways we do this are to call our trading buddies, talk to our broker, or look at indicators we never used, all for the express purpose of gathering non-painful information in order to deny the validity of the painful information. At a subconscious level, our minds will automatically alter, distort, or specifically exclude information from our conscious awareness. In other words, we don't know at a conscious level that our pain avoidance mechanisms are either excluding or altering the information being offered by the market. Consider the experience of being in a losing trade when the market is making consistently higher highs and higher lows, or lower highs and lower lows against your position. When you refuse to acknowledge you are in a losing trade because you have focused all your attention on the ticks that go in your favor, on the average, you are only getting 1 out of 4 or 5 ticks in your direction. But it does not matter because every time you get one, you are convinced the market has reversed and is coming back. Instead, the market keeps going against you. At some point, the dollar virtue of the loss becomes so great that it cannot be denied and you finally exit the trade. Right? The first reaction that traders universally have when looking back at such trade is, why did not I just take my loss and reverse? The opportunity to put on a trade in the opposite direction was easily recognized once there was nothing at stake. But we were blinded to this opportunity while we were in the trade because at that time the information indicating it was an opportunity was denied as painful, so we blocked it from our awareness. Okay, so here the author is telling about how our minds are very, it creates shields to things which we consider as painful. So as a result, we will try to ignore, we'll try to tell, because we have taken a decision, we want it to be successful, until the point that we realize that it has eaten up a lot of our money. Then at this point only we will exit. Now when we look back, we will just tell to ourselves, why did not I lose? Why did not I take my loss and immediately exit? Because we were at that particular time, that information we are kind of blocking. Okay, so when our hypothetical trader first started trading, he was having fun. He was in a carefree state of mind. He had no personal agendas and nothing to prove. As long as he was winning, he put his trades on from a let's see what will happen perspective. The more he won, the less he considered the possibility of ever losing. When he finally did lose, he was probably in a state of mind where he least expected it. Instead of assuming that the cause of his pain was his erroneous expectation about what the market was supposed to or do or not to do, he blamed the market and resolved that by gaining market knowledge, he could prevent such experiences from recurring. In other words, he made a dramatic shift in his perspective from carefree to preventing pain by avoiding losses. The problem is that preventing pain by avoiding losses cannot be done. The market generates behavior patterns and the patterns repeat themselves, but not every time. So again, there is no possible way to avoid losing or being wrong. A trader won't sense these trading realities because he is driven forward by two compelling forces. He desperately wants that winning feeling back, and he is extremely enthusiastic about all the market knowledge he is acquiring. What he does not realize is that, in spite of his enthusiasm, when he went from a carefree state of mind to prevent and avoid mode of thinking, he shifted from a positive to a negative attitude. He's no longer focused on winning, but rather on how he can avoid pain by preventing the market from hurting him again. This kind of negative perspective is not any different from the tennis player or golfer who is focused on trying not to make a mistake. The more he tries not to make a mistake, the more mistakes he makes. However, this mode of thinking is much easier to recognize in sports because there is a more discernible connection between one's focus and one's results. With trading, the connection can be obscured and more difficult to recognize as a result of the positive feelings being generated from the discovering new relationships in market data and behavior. So the author is now telling that the minute you get a losing trade after some winning, you are now, earlier you were in a carefree state, but now you are in a state of not how to avoid the losses. The problem with this kind of thinking is that you immediately go from the positive state of mind to negative state of mind. That is what the author is telling. Now, because there are two forces. Because what is the two forces? Because we want to feel that desperately, we want to get the feel of winning. Second one, now that we have what is it called? We were carefree, and now we started losing. So what we did, we went and started learning more about the markets, more market analysis, more trading, more indicators, and all these things. Now we are so enthusiastic. So two things we have two forces. One is we are very enthusiastic that we have learned a lot of things. The first one is we desperately want that winning feeling. So because of these two things, we have shifted from positive to negative attitude. Now we can no longer focus on winning, but we are now focusing on how to prevent the market from hurting us. So this is a negative perspective. And this is like, if you are playing a tennis, or if you are golf, and if you are trying not to make a mistake, we will end up making mistake. And with the trading, the connection can be obscured. It will be difficult. Okay. Since he is feeling good, there is no reason to suspect that anything is wrong, except that the degree to which the focus is weighted towards pain avoidance is the same degree by which he will create the very experiences he's trying to avoid. In other words, the more he has to win and not lose, the less tolerance he will have for any information that might indicate that he is not getting what he wants. The more information that he has the potential to block, the less he will be able to perceive an opportunity to act in his own interests. Now, what is happening? We now not just want to win. We actually now gone from wanting to win to we want to win and also we don't want to lose. That is the problem. But so that is the accepting the responsibility, or the author is trying to tell. The minute you start telling to ourselves that we don't want to lose, then there will be some information which will tell that which will tell that our views are wrong, and we will block it. So that is what, and again what will happen, we'll be behaving in ways which is against our best interests. So learning more and more about the markets only to avoid pain will compound his problems, because the more he learns, the more he will naturally expect from the markets, making it all the more painful when the markets don't do their part. He has unwittingly created a vicious cycle where the more he learns, the more debilitated he becomes. The more debilitated he becomes, the more he will feel compelled to learn. The cycle will continue until he either quits trading in disgust or recognizes that the root cause of his trading problems is his perspective, not his lack of market knowledge. Okay. So obviously this is like, we have four couple of pages. So today I think we will end here, and we'll start reading about the winners, losers, boomers, and busters from tomorrow. Tomorrow, I don't know whether I might be able to come because of Diwali and all these things, but I'll try to make it up. A couple of, if not, we will continue on Saturday or Monday or something. But so to sum it up, so far we saw about how we react to loss and what will happen. And because we were first winning and then we immediately lose the first time we experience a pain. Now, not only that, we immediately, as a result, what will happen? We will go into a revenge mode, because it is similar to how our childhood and something which we are happily doing, we actually end up and someone is pulling those things away, we immediately feel emotional pain. We will do the same, we'll get the same behavior in the market also. Now, as a result, what is happening when you start going into a revenge mode? We will forget that the market's job is actually not to punish you. Its job is to just give you opportunities, either to give you money or take money from, right? So it doesn't care. So these kind of responsibilities, if we don't take ourselves, we will simply think that the market is responsible. Now, not only that, the minute we start what is it called, going into a revenge mode, what will happen? We'll first be in a carefree state, and then we lost. Now we will be like we will go and learn more things, more indicators, more training, and all these things. But finally, what will happen is, now earlier we were in a carefree state, but now we are in a state of not accepting the loss. So that is a negative attitude. And what will happen is, we will also, in that process, we will block, because earlier we were like, we just want to win. But now it's not just we just want to win, we don't want to lose also. So as a result, there will be some information which will tell that, hey, we are losing. But since we have coming with this negative attitude, and we have learned new things, we feel that we will take a decision and we feel that we will never be wrong, but at the end we will be wrong. And that is what the author is concluding from here. So on how we basically, once we have lost something in the market, once we incur the first loss, this is what is happening in our psychology, that we immediately want to win and we don't want to lose. So one thing is we were winning and we thought, hey, without learning anything, I could make so much money. But now I'll go and learn. I got some loss. I will brush up. I will go and fight the market. I'll prove it wrong or something like that. And once we learn, we will not lose. That is the attitude which we have. But it is not that way. So the author is asking us to accept that every trade which we make, there is a possibility that it will be wrong. And once you get it, you should accept that you were wrong. But if you think that you should not be wrong, then we will block certain information which is telling that we were wrong. And then what will happen? Immediately we'll go and learn more, and the more learning, we will become more, we'll do more mistakes, and then we will be compelled, and it will be a cycle. Learning part, he's mentioning about the technical analysis part, not the mental analysis. He's telling that you should go, you'll go and read new this indicator, that indicator, this strategy, that strategy, these kind of things. That guy made so much money, 95% win rate, 80% win rate. But until a point when we realize that we will start trading, we'll quit trading, and we will understand that or we will not, we will tell that you don't have enough knowledge. So yeah, so that's it for today. I think I have nothing else to say, and it was a good lesson today, much needed lesson for me also. I hope it was of use to you. If you guys want to share anything, if you guys want to tell anything, please feel free to. Otherwise, we'll end up the call. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Sridhar. Yes, it was a very good read. It was a good read for me. Actually, a lot of things which is mentioned here, it is opening my eyes, because I have behaved these kind of ways. I've been telling to my partner here that I'll go and learn and all these things, but now I understand this very, very important. It is very eye-opening. So I hope this subsequent chapters will open much more information for us. And thanks a lot for coming and joining this session. Much appreciated. It's motivating me to continue this session more. Fine. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So anything else you guys want to tell? If not, we will end this session.
I just joined today. I see this is the new initiative. I never saw this type of reading.
Okay.
I really appreciate this one. How to get this the previous readings? Are you recording anything?
Yeah, actually, there is everything I am uploading in YouTube. The previous recordings. I'll share you the playlist also. I'm actually putting all the recordings in a playlist, so that subsequent every session is available as a list for whoever missed it. So you can go and watch it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
I'll share the list today also. Okay.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you for coming up.
Yeah.
Fine. I think we'll end this call today then. Thanks a lot, guys. And if it is possible, I'll try to continue tomorrow. Most probably for the next 3 days. I don't know whether I'll be able to come because of the Diwali and all these things. If I am able to come, we can join. If not, we will continue on Monday. Okay. So if I'm not there, I'll happy Diwali to all of you. Okay. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys. Much appreciated.